You know, it feels like it's getting easier to get help from your favorite brands, right? Well, today we're going to dive into the big reason why, the incredible rise of AI in customer service. Oh man, we have all been there. You're staring at your phone, listening to that awful hold music on a loop, just waiting and waiting for a real person to finally pick up. Well, that feeling, that universal frustration, it's the exact thing that's sparking a huge, huge change. Okay, so before we jump into the solution, we've got to really get our heads around the problem. For like decades, customer service has been stuck with this major bottleneck. I mean, it's pretty simple when you think about it. You've got a limited number of people who can only work, 8 or 9 hours a day. That's what creates all that friction. You have one simple question, but you're stuck in this massive line. Or even worse, you got to call back the next day because they're already closed. Ugh. So, right, how do you fix that? How do you just break that bottleneck wide open? Well, you bring in a totally new kind of workforce. And that's what this is all about. Welcome to the AI service revolution. And right at the heart of this whole thing is the AI chatbot. Now, hold on, I know what you're thinking. These are not those clunky, kind of useless bots from a few years ago. No way. Today's AI chatbots are built to actually understand you and give you help instantly, 24/7. And these things are surprisingly capable. They basically do three key jobs. First, they give you instant answers to all those common questions, the where's my order kind of stuff. Second, they can actually walk you through troubleshooting steps to fix a problem. But here's the really important part. They're smart enough to know when they're out of their depth, and they'll pass you right along to a human agent. But listen, this isn't just a win for us, the impatient customers. The effect this is having on businesses and even their human employees is it's huge. So you might be wondering, why is every company, from your go-to online shop to your bank, jumping on this so fast? Well, it really just boils down to a massive boost in efficiency and, of course, a huge drop in costs. We're talking serious savings here. Just how serious? Well, some businesses are seeing their service costs fall by as much as 25%. I mean, think about that. That is a ton of money that they can now pour back into, new products and growing the company. But here's where the story gets really interesting. It's not just the classic robots are stealing our jobs narrative. Not at all. In a lot of ways, AI is actually becoming this incredibly powerful sidekick for the human agents. Imagine a human agent who has an AI tool whispering suggestions in their ear, or instantly pulling up a customer's entire history. It's like giving them a superpower. And the numbers back it up. Agents who have an AI assistant are solving around 15% more problems every single hour. Okay, but making this work well isn't as simple as just, flipping a switch on the technology. It's all about creating a really smooth, seamless partnership between the human and the AI. And for that partnership to actually work, you've got to follow a few golden rules. The AI needs to be accurate, that's a given. It has to be programmed to be, empathetic. It absolutely has to know when to pass the ball to a human. And maybe the biggest rule of all, it has to be transparent. And yeah, that brings us to a super important point, transparency. All the best practices show that if you try to fool a customer into thinking they're talking to a person, it almost always blows up in your face. Just being upfront from the get-go builds trust and, it sets the right expectations. So when you add it all up, it's better for customers, it's better for businesses, it's even better for employees. It's no wonder the speed of this change is it's kind of staggering. And let's be clear, this isn't some slow-moving, gradual shift. Nope. What we're watching happen right now is the complete rewiring of an entire industry. So just how fast and how big is this thing really? Okay, just look at this number. Projections are showing that by 2025, and that is right around the corner, AI is going to handle 95% of all customer interactions. Voice, chat, you name it. That's just wild. It means pretty much every time you reach out for help, you're going to be talking to an AI first. And that leaves us with this really fascinating question to chew on. If AI is handling all that routine, predictable stuff, the 95%, what does that mean for the humans? Well, it frees them up to focus only on that last 5%. The really complex, messy, emotional problems that only a person can solve. It kind of suggests a future where human expertise isn't being replaced. It's just being promoted.